The stars near Orion Drift were never quiet. Hundreds of communication signals, patrol beacons, and science probes buzzed through that part of space every second. But then, everything went silent. One listening post, Station Echo 7, stopped sending data. At first, Earth Command thought it was a technical problem, but then the backup systems failed too, and finally, the emergency beacon sent out just one strange message. Before cutting off completely, it watches us through the stars. That was the last anyone heard from Station Echo-7. So they sent Elias Ward. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a spy. He was a problem solver, a human investigator who had solved alien riddles and ancient codes that AI couldn't touch. Elias had something special: human instinct, curiosity, and fearlessness. When Elias arrived in his small scout ship, the station looked normal from the outside. No signs of damage, no burn marks, no distress signals. But inside, it was dead silent. The docking bay lights flickered weakly as Elias stepped out in his black exosuit. He spoke into his comms. Station Echo 7. This is Elias Ward. I'm here to investigate. Respond. Double quotes nothing. He moved deeper inside. The air was cold, recycled, but breathable. The crew's personal items were still in place: coffee cups, data pads, even a game of chess left unfinished. But not a single body. No blood, no signs of a fight. Just emptiness. In the command center, the main computer was offline. Elias plugged in his own system to restore power. As the lights came on, he noticed something strange on the main monitor. A single message, written in large red letters. Do not look at it. What is it? Elias muttered. He accessed the last log from the captain. The screen flickered, and then a hologram of a tired, pale woman appeared. If anyone sees this, we tried. We thought it was just a signal, just a repeating sound in the dark. But it sees you when you hear it, and when you understand it, it comes. She paused. Her voice shook. We saw something through the telescope. Not a ship, not a planet, just space folding around itself. We thought it was a glitch. Then people started hearing whispers. Then they started vanishing. The message ended with static. Elias stared at the monitor. He replayed the log multiple times, searching for anything odd. Then he found something. Behind the captain's voice, hidden in the background, was a faint sound, a whisper, a pattern, not in any known language. Elias copied the audio and ran it through his analyzer. It wasn't just noise. It was structured, mathematical, but not made by human logic. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A warning appeared on his visor. Proximity. Alert. Unknown motion detected. He pulled out his pulse scanner and checked the hallway behind him. Nothing was there, but the scanner showed movement right outside the room. He turned, still nothing. Then the temperature dropped sharply. Elias's breath became visible inside his helmet. His suit's systems buzzed with alerts, but there was no source. He backed out of the room, keeping his eyes on the shadows, and then all systems went dark. For 3 full seconds, Elias floated in total blackness. No lights, no sounds. Then, all at once, the lights returned, but something had changed. The message on the screen had been overwritten. It now said, "You heard it." Elias's heart pounded. His human mind raced in ways no machine ever could. He knew what this meant. The signal wasn't just a warning. It was a trap. But instead of fear, Elias felt a strange pull, a curiosity, something deeper than logic. He needed to know what this thing was, where it came from. He checked the database for other missing stations. To his shock, he found 6 more listening posts that had gone silent over the past 50 years, all near ancient star corridors, all dismissed as accidents, all with the same final log: strange whispers and vanishing crews. But no one had ever connected them. Until now. Elias downloaded all the data. On a hunch, he searched for symbols, anything strange recorded by the station's telescopes before going silent, and there it was, a symbol, a spiraling eye made of stars, showing up in each telescope image before the signal went dark. It matched a forgotten alien language stored deep in Earth's forbidden archives, the language of the Igrin, an ancient race thought to be extinct for over 1 million years. Why was their symbol showing up now? And what was this thing watching through the stars? Elias left the station quickly. Whatever haunted that place wasn't gone. It was just hiding. As his ship pulled away, he looked back one last time. The station lights turned off, one by one. Not because of power failure, but like someone was standing inside flipping the switches. Elias set a new course, Earth archives. The mystery had only just begun, and the galaxy was about to change forever. Elias Ward didn't return straight to Earth Command. He knew what they would say, "You're imagining it," or worse, drop the investigation. But he had seen too much. The whispers, the strange cold, the missing crew, and that old alien symbol on the station's telescope logs. It wasn't a coincidence. Something ancient was moving again. Something dangerous. So instead of going home, Elias went off-grid. He docked at an independent data hub called Signal Nest, hidden inside an old mining asteroid. It was a place used by researchers, smugglers, and information brokers. Here, Elias could search freely. No rules, no oversight. Inside a quiet rented lab, Elias set to work. He uploaded the telescope images from the 7 vanished stations. He removed all starlight, filtered the noise, and enhanced only the strange spiral shape that appeared in the sky before each station went dark. Each spiral matched. Same curve, same number of arms, same strange flicker pattern. It wasn't just a symbol. It was a signal, buried in the stars themselves. Elias leaned back in his chair, eyes wide. "It's been hiding in plain sight," he whispered. He called it the Watcher Spiral. But the question still burned in his mind. Who first made it? He dug deeper, cross-referenced ancient alien databases, forbidden archives, and forgotten crash site logs. Then he found it, a half-corrupted document from 1.2 million years ago, buried in the ruins of a Igrin temple. The message was only partially translated. "We could not kill it, so we blinded it. We cut the sight from the stars." Elias stared at the words for a long time. What had the Igrin found, and why did they blind it? He ran a simulation using his AI assistant. If the signal was a sensor like an eye, then the 7 stations might have been waking it up again by looking in the wrong direction. They weren't just vanishing, they were being noticed. And when it noticed them, it came. Suddenly, his screen glitched. The lab lights flickered. Then a warning: remote access detected, location traced. Someone had found him. Elias grabbed his data chip and sprinted to the docking bay. Before he could launch, a sleek black drone smashed into the lab's exterior wall. It carried no markings, only glowing blue lights and a single weapon pod. It wasn't here to talk. Elias dodged behind a metal crate as the drone opened fire. Sparks flew. Debris fell. He slid across the floor, reached his ship, and activated emergency launch. The docking bay doors opened just as another drone arrived. Lasers cut through the metal like butter. Elias's ship rocketed away from the asteroid. He looked back through the rear camera. The drones didn't chase. They weren't meant to kill him in space. They were meant to stop the search. Inside his ship, he locked the door and uploaded the data from the chip to an offline drive. Now he knew 3 things for sure. The Igrin weren't fully extinct. Someone, or something, was protecting this ancient secret. The pattern of the missing wasn't random. There was a map hidden inside it. Elias plotted the 7 disappearances on a 3D star map. When connected, they formed a curve. The outer edge of a spiral. The Watcher Spiral was not just a signal. It was a boundary. And something waited inside it. Elias realized he had to find the center, the origin point of the spiral, the place where it all began, where the Igrin might have locked away their greatest mistake. He marked the center on his map, an uninhabited region of deep space called the Black Fold. No one had gone there in centuries. Too many ships had vanished, too many ghosts. But Elias had no choice. If he didn't go, more stations would disappear, more people would die, and sooner or later, this ancient watcher would fully wake up. He sent a silent message to one person he could still trust, Dr. Mara Voss, a linguist who once helped him decode an alien curse that nearly destroyed a planet. Message: going dark. Spiral leads to the fold. If I vanish, don't follow. Just warn Earth, it sees us. He set course for the fold and shut off all external lights. The stars grew darker. Behind him, the galaxy slept. Ahead of him, something old began to stir. And, far away, in the shadows between systems, the spiral blinked. Elias Ward stared at the stars through his ship's cracked window. The spire was gone. The voice had fallen silent, but his thoughts weren't his own anymore. Whispers curled around his mind like smoke, words that didn't belong to any language, visions that belonged to no time. He felt them, not like memories, but like shadows of things that had never happened. Still, Elias knew what he had to do: warn Earth. He plotted a course back to the core systems and began transmitting to Earth. Command. Not just a message, but everything he had: the spiral logs, the Igrin records, the vault footage, and the final encounter in the spire. But the moment he sent it, the transmission jammed. Static replaced the signal. Then a single line appeared. On his screen: "We see what you see. Elias cursed under his breath. The Watcher wasn't just looking. It was listening now. He shut down all external systems. Then he remembered something from his early military days. An old, secret protocol, buried deep in the early space code. Whisper Protocol. A manual, laser-based message delivery system meant to send data using ships instead of signals. No network, no hacking, no interference, just light. He set a course for Outpost 39, a hidden Earth Alliance relay base orbiting a dwarf planet near the edge of the core. It was abandoned, no crew, but it still had functioning whisper towers. He arrived after 30 hours. The station looked dark and silent, no signs of life. But Elias docked anyway. The interior was cold, lights flickered. Dust floated through the corridors like it hadn't been touched in years. He moved quickly toward the communication hub, carrying a small data crystal. Everything he'd discovered, compressed into one file. But something felt wrong. The deeper he went, the more wrong the station felt. Not dangerous, but watched. As if the shadows themselves were breathing. Inside the comms hub, Elias powered up the whisper tower. The huge dish on the roof began to rotate slowly. Lasers aligned. The old panel blinked to life. Target, Earth Command, Black Vault, Terminal, ready to transmit. He slotted the crystal into the console, but the screen didn't confirm. It glitched. Then it flashed white, and a voice, not spoken, not played, but inserted directly into Elias's thoughts. What you carry is not yours to share. Blood rushed to Elias's head. He fell to his knees, grabbing the side of the terminal. He fought back. No, he gasped. They deserve to know. Earth deserves to see the truth. The voice returned, colder now. To see is to break. To know is to vanish. This is mercy. The whisper tower began to overheat. Smoke poured from the vents. Elias slammed the override, manually initiated the beam. The dish outside fired, a narrow, hidden laser message slicing across thousands of kilometers toward Earth's secret receivers. He did it, but at a cost. The data crystal melted in the machine. The system shorted. The entire room blacked out. And then he heard them. Footsteps. Not loud, not fast, just their coming from the hall behind him. He turned. Nothing. Then a whisper, clear and sharp, inches from his ear. It knows you betrayed the silence. He ran down the corridor, back to his ship, slamming hatches shut behind him. Once inside, he launched without delay. The station behind him flickered one last time, and then all its lights turned off. Forever. He didn't stop flying until he reached deep space again. Far from any star. Far from any signal. He floated in the cold, alone, breathing hard. Inside the cockpit, the systems were silent, but his mind was not. The voice still lingered. But something strange happened. Another signal came in. Weak, fragmented, but human. It was Dr. Mara Voss. Her voice crackled. Elias, we got your whisper beam. We decrypted what we could. Earth Command didn't believe me, but I believe you. Meet me at Deep Dock 12. We need to finish this. Together. The flicker of hope rose in Elias's chest. He wasn't alone anymore. But even as he changed course, he felt it. The Watcher was now fully awake. And it wasn't just looking at Elias. It was starting to look at everyone. The docking arms of Deep Dock 12 extended silently from the shadows of Jupiter's sixth moon. The hidden base was ancient, built during the early colony wars, now forgotten by most of Earth's military. But Dr. Mara Voss hadn't forgotten. She stood near the bay, staring at Elias Ward's approaching ship with wide eyes and shaking hands. For years she had studied forbidden archives, old signals, and alien myths. She had warned Command about the Watcher spiral. They laughed. But now Elias was here with proof. As soon as Elias stepped off his ship, he nearly collapsed. His skin was pale, his eyes sunken. Mara caught him. You're lucky you found me first, she whispered. He looked at her with a weak smile. It's not just watching anymore. They walked through the dark metal corridors of the dock. The lights flickered, but not from power failure. The interference had followed Elias here. In the main lab, Elias uploaded the surviving data fragments from the Whisper protocol. Holoscreens filled the room with disturbing images. He grinned. Symbols, alien code, star maps bending into spirals, and blurry shapes too big to understand. Mara pointed at one of the maps. This star, she said. It exploded 400,000 years ago, but not naturally. Something used the explosion to blind the creature. Ilrathun, Elias said. The site that ends. Mara shook her head slowly. We thought it was a myth, something left behind by scared civilizations. It's not a myth, Elias said. It talked to me. It told me it doesn't move. It doesn't hunt. It only sees, and now that it sees you, she whispered, it sees us all. The room fell silent. Suddenly, the holoscreens started to glitch. Each one flashed the same words in Igrin language. You were warned. The emergency lights shut off. A deep humming sound filled the dock, vibrating through the walls. Mara ran to the console. It's trying to enter our systems. It doesn't need a door, Elias said. It's inside our perception. Mara looked at him sharply. Then we only have one choice. She opened a sealed drawer and pulled out a device Elias had never seen before. It looked like a crystal engine, wrapped in quantum threads and tiny logic cubes. What is that? The null prism, she said. An experimental psychic scrambler, designed to erase high-dimensional attention signatures. Elias blinked. In English, it can make us invisible, not just physically but mentally. Even if it's watching, it won't understand us anymore. Elias stepped back. Why? Hasn't anyone used this? Because it also erases everything, Mara said quietly. Memories, thought trails, identity shadows. You activate this, and the watcher might forget you. But so will everyone else. He stared at the device. So we become no one, she nodded. It's the only way to break the spiral again. Elias paced, his heartbeat loud in his ears. There's something worse. Mara turned. What? I don't think it's just watching anymore. I think it's starting to learn. Mara's face paled. Impossible. No, Elias said. When it spoke to me the last time, it said something different, something new. It knew what I was planning. Mara sat down slowly. If it learns, it becomes curious. Elias finished the thought, and curiosity is what woke it in the first place. Suddenly, every screen in the room flashed once, and an image appeared. Earth. From orbit, glowing, peaceful. Then the image zoomed in, and thousands of tiny spiral patterns began appearing across the planet. In cities, in lights, in satellites, even in dreams. It had already begun. Mara stood. We have to use the null prism now. Elias reached out and touched the small device. What happens after we disappear? She looked at him. We rebuild the spiral. We spread a new pattern. We hide again and hope it forgets. He nodded. Together, they activated the prism. A low hum vibrated through their bodies. Time slowed. Light bent. Their thoughts felt like glass being wiped clean. Elias watched his own name vanish from the screens. Mara's voice echoed faintly. We become the silence that saves the stars. The prism flashed once, and the dock went dark. No records. No signals. No memory. Just stillness. But somewhere in the galaxy, Ilrathun blinked for the first time in millennia. And it whispered, "Two minds escaped. But I remember the shape. It was no longer just watching. It was searching. In a forgotten region of the Perseus arm, where light from stars barely reached, a silent drone floated through space. Its scanners were offline. Its memory was erased. But deep inside, hidden between strands of code, a pattern pulsed faint, but alive. It was Elias Ward, or what was left of him. And nearby, in a cloaked ship drifting in the gravity well of a neutron star, Mara Voss Ray learned her name for the 10th time. The null prism had worked, mostly. They were invisible to most systems, their presence erased from all networks, memories, and signals. Even the Watcher's ancient mind had stopped following them. But not for long, because somewhere, beyond all known space, Ilrathun remembered one thing, the shape of defiance. It had seen the human mind, curious, bold, willing to risk itself for knowledge. And now that shape echoed across the stars like a broken signal. One by one, planets began to change, not with violence, but with mirrors. Glowing spiral shapes appeared in crystal reflections, puddles, glass domes, even inside people's dreams. People began reporting nightmares of an open eye in the sky. Some lost the ability to speak, others only whispered numbers. Some simply vanished. Governments blamed solar flares, others blamed hallucinations from new tech. But someone knew the truth, far from the central systems. In the ruins of an old Igrin research station, a being stirred. Not human. Not Watcher, but something in between. The Archivist, a hybrid consciousness formed from the last Igrin scientist and an experimental AI mind. The Archivist had spent millennia recording the fall of the Igrin and hiding its records. And when it detected the Watcher's attention rising again, it activated a signal. To Elias, on his hidden ship. Elias sat in silence, staring at a blinking light on the console. It was the first signal that reached them in weeks. He read the transmission. The spiral was not the only lock. There is still one door left closed. Come, let us finish what they started. Archivist Mara joined him, rubbing her temple. Another remnant, maybe, Elias said. But it remembers us. She frowned. Could be a trap. Elias nodded. Could be salvation. They set course for the ruined station. The station orbited a shattered planet made of black crystal. Its surface looked like broken glass. Inside, the corridors were twisted, as if time itself had melted the walls. They met the archivist in a chamber full of floating data orbs. It took the form of a tall being with a grin face made of soft light. Its voice echoed like 100 thoughts speaking at once. You touched the eye, it said, and it saw what the grin once feared. Elias stepped forward. We made it forget us. No, the archivist said. You made it curious. Mara clenched her fists. Then tell us how to stop it. The archivist turned toward a dark sphere floating above a dead console. This is the seed of reflection, it said. The grin built it but never used it. A mirror, not to show the watcher what it sees but to show it itself. Elias narrowed his eyes. You want us to make it look inwards? The archivist nodded. It does not know itself. It only knows what it sees. If we reflect its own endless hunger back, it may collapse under its own weight. Mara was silent, and if it doesn't, then everything will. Elias looked at the seed. It was a dark crystal, humming with deep gravity. It wasn't technology. It was something more, part weapon, part idea, and it would need to be placed where the watcher watches best. Elias understood instantly. The spiral's heart. The place where it first woke. The place where it was still strongest. Mara nodded slowly. We go back. The archivist offered one last word. Once the reflection begins, you must not blink. As they left the station, something stirred behind them. Not movement. Not presence. Just awareness. Ilrathun had noticed the ripple. It remembered their shape. And this time, it wasn't just watching. It was preparing to reach. The stars twisted, like they were afraid. In the very center of the watcher spiral, where gravity bent time and light refused to stay straight, Elias Ward and Mara Voss arrived aboard a small cloaked craft. The spiral's heart pulsed before them, a region of space so dark, even nearby galaxies looked like scars on black glass. This was the place where Ilrathun had first seen, and this was where it would end. The seed of reflection set inside a containment shell. Its surface shimmered with something deeper than metal, like thoughts wrapped in crystal. This is it, Mara whispered. Once it activates, we only have seconds. Elias nodded. Let it see itself. He guided the ship into the heart of the spiral. The closer they got, the more their ship's system screamed in confusion. Time loops, sensor echoes, ghost signals. It was like space itself was trying to reject them. Mara gripped the console. I'm stabilizing the field. Go. Take the seed. Elias paused. You're not coming with me? She shook her head. If we both go, no one gets back. I'll hold the ship. You finish it. For a second, neither spoke. Then Elias picked up the seed and stepped into the drop chamber. Outside the ship, it was nothing. No light, no sound, just pressure, like a billion eyes turning inward at once. He floated slowly toward the central void, the seed cradled against his chest. And then, it noticed him. Not with words, not with emotion, just presence. The kind of awareness that didn't ask questions. The kind that simply understood too much. You return. You bring fire to shadow. You reflect what should not be seen. Elias pressed the activation switch. The seed of reflection glowed with a color that had no name. The dark around him pulsed. The watcher paused. For the first time, Elias felt something he didn't expect. Confusion. The watcher wasn't infinite. It wasn't invincible. It was blind to itself. Until now. The seed opened like a flower. Mirrors spun in impossible directions. And then the watcher looked into its own gaze. A sound like shattering thought echoed through space. Spirals collapsed in on themselves. The stars twisted the other way. Elias screamed silently as memories that weren't his began flooding in alien minds. Igrin's sacrifice, the death of ancient races who had tried and failed before. And through it all, the watcher trembled. I see the hunger. I see the fear. I see myself. And just like that it blinked, not gone, not dead, but broken. The spiral stopped spinning. The darkness lost its shape. And Elias began falling. Inside the ship, alarms wailed. Mara's hands shook as she tried to keep the ship from falling into the broken heart of the void. Then a blinding light. Elias's signal went dark. Elias, she screamed. Come in. Nothing. Only a single return ping. Then a message appeared on the console. Typed in Elias's simple style. I saw it see itself. It won't forget, but it won't remember. US. That's enough. Go. Mara covered her mouth, choking back tears. The ship jolted. She hit the escape burn. And as she left the spiral's heart behind, the black storm finally settled. Weeks passed. Earth Command never understood what had happened. The spirals on planets vanished. The nightmares stopped. No one remembered the name Ilrathun anymore. But somewhere, in deep space, a lone ship drifted. Silently. Inside it, Dr. Mara Voss sat at an old desk. Recording. Not data, not signals, but a story. There was a man, she said softly, who solved a mystery that haunted the stars. He didn't win with weapons, he won with knowing. And because he knew, we still exist. She looked up. Smiled. And whispered, "Your name was Elias Ward, and I will remember." Outside, a new star blinked into existence. It wasn't real, but it was bright, like hope. Elias Ward drifted through empty space, deep into a region known only as the Black Fold. It was far from any star, no signals, no travel routes, just darkness and silence. But he wasn't here for peace. He was looking for an ancient ruin, something the Ygritte built 1,000,000 years ago. It was called Vault Karun, hidden inside a massive, hollow asteroid that didn't appear on modern star maps. The vault was rumored to be one of the Ygritte's last strongholds, sealed after a god was blinded. No one knew what that meant. Elias intended to find out. As he neared the asteroid, his ship's sensors started to fail. Compass spinning, lights flickering, even time felt slower. The asteroid was pitch black, no reflections, no markings. But Elias had studied the spiral pattern and used it to find a weak energy pulse buried inside the rock. He landed his ship carefully. The moment he stepped onto the asteroid's surface, his boots made no sound, total silence. Using a portable drill, he opened a narrow tunnel and climbed down. The deeper he went, the stranger things became. His flashlight showed strange shapes etched into the wall's curved lines, like eyes, mouths, and stars melting into each other. Then he found the door. It wasn't made of metal. It looked like it had grown from the stone itself. In the center was a symbol he recognized, the spiral, the same one he had seen on every lost station. He touched it. The stone pulsed, then split open silently. The vault opened to him. Inside was a vast chamber filled with floating cubes, each one spinning slowly. In the air, the walls were covered with thin crystal vines, glowing faintly like veins. And in the center of the room, a small platform with a round stone disc. Elias stepped forward. Suddenly, the cubes activated. A whisper filled the air, not in sound but in his mind. Ancient Ygritte thoughts, memories, pain, fear, warnings. The platform lit up. A hologram appeared, an alien figure with large black eyes and thin arms. The Ygritte looked terrified. It spoke in a broken voice, translated slowly by Elias's translator. "We blinded the god. We buried it beneath fire. But it still dreams, still sees, still waits for the curious." Elias stood frozen. The Ygritte wasn't warning its people. It was warning anyone who found this place. Do not decode the eye. Do not follow the spiral. It will know you. It will come. The image flickered, then changed. Now Elias saw ancient battles, Ygritte cities burning, their machines collapsing. A dark shape moved across the stars, too large to describe, too fast to track. The shape didn't use weapons. It only watched. And when it watched, everything fell apart. The Ygritte called it Ilrathun, the sight that ends. They could not destroy it. They could not speak to it. So they locked its awareness away by turning its own signals into chaos. They made themselves invisible by hiding inside noise. They created the Watcher spiral to draw its attention away, a trap that kept its gaze moving in circles. And now, Elias had broken that pattern. He had looked too closely, and it had noticed him. The vault began to shake. The cubes spun faster. One of them cracked open, revealing a memory stone, a small crystal containing raw alien data. Elias grabbed it, ran to the exit, and barely escaped as the chamber collapsed behind him. Back on his ship, he placed the stone into the decryption scanner. Strange shapes filled his screen. Not words, but patterns, complex equations, and star maps. He recognized coordinates to a star system that didn't exist anymore. He searched the ancient galactic map and found it. A star that had gone supernova 400,000 years ago. But according to the Ygritte stone, something still survived inside the explosion site. A structure, maybe a prison. Elias leaned back, heart pounding. The Ygritte had done the impossible. They had buried a cosmic-level threat inside a dying star. But now, the spiral was broken. The god was waking. As he tried to save the data, his system went dark again. The same whisper from Station Echo 7 echoed in his head. You heard it. The lights came back, but the ship's AI was frozen. And then, on the screen, a single phrase appeared in Ygritte's symbols. It knows your name. Elias stared in silence. Something was watching him through the stars, not with eyes, but with attention. So powerful, it could break minds, but Elias wasn't done yet. He set a new course, the Dead Star System, where the Igrin had buried the god. He would go to the place no one dared. He would look into the cage, and he would learn what slept in the dark. The journey to the Dead Star System took 3 days in hyperspace. Elias Ward didn't sleep during the trip. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw strange lights and spinning patterns. Sometimes he heard whispers. Sometimes he saw a massive eye, wide open, staring through space, staring directly at him. The Igrin memory stone hadn't stopped affecting his mind, but Elias had made a choice. He would not turn back. The star system had once held 5 planets. Now, only dust and broken rock floated in silence. At the center was the collapsed remains of a supernova, a swirling cloud of gas and glowing fragments, and at its core, something impossible, a structure, black, sharp, and shaped like a twisting spire. It hovered in space where nothing should have survived. No life signs, no signals. But it pulled at the senses, like it was calling out without making a sound. The Igrin had built it. Elias scanned the spire. It was made from materials not found in any known star system. Half of it wasn't even made of real matter. It was partly constructed from gravitic shadows, something only theoretical in human science. He approached slowly in a drone pod. His ship remained at a safe distance. As the drone neared the structure, Elias's vision blurred. His thoughts became slow, thick. It felt like he was dreaming while awake. Then the voice came again. "You are not the first." Elias froze. He wasn't wearing any earpiece. The voice wasn't coming from the ship. It was inside his mind. He tried to speak, but his mouth wouldn't move. The pod reached a landing port, and the doors opened on their own. He stepped into the spire. The inside was completely dark, yet he could see everything. The walls were smooth and black, but reflected strange memories not his own. He saw flashes of alien cities, great fires, skies turning red. He saw the Igrin's last leaders kneeling before something too large to describe. Elias walked forward. The hallway curved downward, deeper into the spire. Gravity twisted strangely here. He felt light one moment and heavy the next. Then he reached a chamber. It wasn't a room. It was a mind, a swirling space filled with memory echoes, half-formed thoughts, and broken voices. Elias wasn't sure if he was still walking, or floating, or dreaming. At the center was something pulsing, not an object, but an idea, a knot of awareness. And it spoke. "I was never meant to wake." The voice was both everywhere and nowhere. It wasn't angry. It wasn't kind. It just was. Elias forced himself to speak. "Are you Ilrathun?" "That is the name they gave me. I did not choose it." "What are you?" There was a long silence. Then, "I am the thought before time, the watcher between events, the hunger that does not eat, but knows." Elias shivered. He remembered the Igrin message. "We blinded it. We buried it beneath fire." He asked, "Why did they blind you?" The voice became colder. "Because I saw too much, and what I saw broke their world." Elias saw flickers how the Igrin became more advanced, more curious. They built machines to look deeper into the universe. And one day, their machines saw something that shouldn't exist, something outside the laws of physics, outside time. And the moment they saw it, it saw them back. And it never forgot. "Curiosity is a flame," the voice said. "You lit it." Again Elias felt pain behind his eyes. His thoughts twisted. He saw himself, standing in the chamber. Then he saw 1,000 versions of himself, each one looking into the same mystery, each one failing, vanishing, screaming. His vision snapped back. He fell to his knees, but he had one question left. "Can you be stopped?" Another pause. Then the voice replied, "I do not move. I do not hunt. I am seen. If you stop looking, I sleep." Elias understood now. The Igrin had created the Watcher spiral to trap its attention, to keep it looking at a pattern, so it wouldn't look at the galaxy. But the spiral was broken now, and the eye had turned toward the stars again, including Earth. The chamber began to collapse round him, not with sound, but with silence, pure, crushing silence. The drone pod's emergency systems activated and pulled Elias out. As he flew away, the spire slowly folded into itself, disappearing without sound, as if it had never been there. Back on his ship, Elias collapsed, but his mind was racing. He now knew the truth. The Watcher wasn't a monster. It was a mirror, and when life stared too deeply into it, it stared back. And now it knew Elias's name.